Hi everyone, it's me, Diana, the TheDollFairy. And today we're celebrating a special birthday. Today, Hatsune Miku, a virtual idol from Japan whose voice has given life to countless amazing songs created by different artists around the world, will be 12 years old. She's actually eternally 16, but it's been 12 years since her official release as a Vocaloid computer program. In those 12 years, she's become quite a sensation. Some of my doll friends and I decided to celebrate this milestone by creating custom dolls inspired by different characters that Miku portrays in various music videos and media. Moonlight Jewel, Doll Mill, Hextian, Holly Crafts, Anastazia Custom, Culur, and myself all made dolls inspired by Miku and the songs she sings. Please check out all of their videos after you watch this one. I'm underwater today because I will be making a doll based on Miku's look in the song Deep Sea Girl, or Shinkai Shoujo in Japanese, which is about a girl who has isolated herself at the bottom of a metaphorical sea because of her sadness and fear. She is trapped in this cruel ocean until she sees a ray of light and realizes what beautiful colors she has within her soul. For this project, which is actually pretty dear to my heart, I'm going to use a Cupid doll from Ever After High. One of the things I love about Ever After High is the way that their round, broad face molds give you ample space to create large anime eyes. I prep Cupid by removing her clothes and accessories, cutting off her hair, and then sinking her head into some hot water to soften the vinyl and make it easier to remove the head. Then I take jewelry pliers and scrape out all the remaining hair and melted glue from the inside of her head and pull it out through the neck hole. I remove the factory paint using acetone nail polish remover and some cotton balls, and then I paint her scalp turquoise to prepare for rerooting her hair in Miku's signature color. This is my absolute favorite color in the world, so it made the reroot much more pleasant to work with. Like, turquoise literally helps me feel calm and tranquil. I'm using atomic turquoise hair from dollyhair.com, and it's so long and flowy. I use my reroot tool to poke strands of the hair into every single hole in the head. This takes a long while, but boy does that look gorgeous. I just love this color. For the part of the hair, which will need to extend from her forehead all the way to the back of her neck this time because her hair will be arranged into pigtails, I crisscross strands of the hair back and forth to form a nice part which covers all of the scalp. After finishing that and tying the hair into those two pigtails, I cover up the hair with some fabric and pin it to her head to protect the hair from the spray sealant. I used 2 initial coats of Mr. Super Clear sealant on her face, spraying outside with a respirator mask. Then I start sketching the face with a light brown watercolor pencil. My favorite kind of face-ups are anime style, so I enjoyed this one a lot. I'm going to give her large eyes with thick eyelashes, and since this character is sorrowful and in pain, she will have a sad expression. I also want her to look rather cute and sweet, like you'll just want to give her a hug. I really love the drama of the thick lash lines in some anime styles of art, so I'm going to go for that kind of look here. For her eyes, Miku has deep turquoise eyes that match her lovely hair, so I'm going to use a variety of greens and blues to create a really oceany type of blue gradient. Luckily, the MSC cooperated with me much better this time. I'm never really sure why, but I think last time I may have been spraying too close to the doll, or it could have just been the weather conditions, I just don't know. Anyway, I was able to build up color with these pencils pretty easily, which was very nice. I started with the aqua green shades and then moved into introducing blues in the upper half of the eyes. I'm really loving how vibrant it looks so far. I darken up my lash lines with some darker brown before moving on to pastels and then spraying another coat of sealant. For her lips and blush, I'm going to use my go-to shades of light pink, especially this one with a coral tint that I really like to use on lips and for blushing. I don't feel like I have to be too fancy or heavy-handed with the shading because of the simpler anime style, but I do give her some simple blushing and shade around her eyelids and under her eyebrows to add some depth and a little hint of realism. After spraying more sealant, all of her features are in place and have a good foundation, so I'm mostly just working on deepening the colors now. I add a little touch of yellow at the brightest part of the iris, and I really like how that livens up the look. After adding another layer of greens and blues, I lightly go in with my black pencil to really darken the part of the iris that should be in shadow. It's really cool how drastic the effect of the black can be. Next, I go over the outline of the eyes and the lashes with black as well, thickening the lines and more dramatically defining the features. I add more pastels and then another layer of sealant. This layer should be the last one, so I add some shading to the whites of the eyes, work on the outlines even more, and basically just refine all the other features until I'm satisfied with things like the color gradient in the eyes and the shape and thickness of the eyebrows. I add some darker pinks to the lips to help define their color. Then, after one final coat of sealant, I add the eye shines and some gloss. She should look like she could cry at any moment, so I gave her a few points of light in each iris to make her eyes look a bit watery. Then I used Tamiya gloss to give her lips and eyes some shine. I usually gloss my doll's lips at least a little, but I don't usually gloss the eyes because I don't always like how it looks. Sometimes it makes it harder to get good photos because of the reflectiveness. But I decided to give it another try with this doll because I wanted the teary-eyed look, so I put a few coats of the gloss on both the lips and the irises. Next, it's time to make her dress. I actually looked a lot at the Volks version of this dress meant for Dolphy Dream Miku in order to understand how I should structure it. I made a pattern for the top piece, which I guess is sort of like a bra, with darts to better fit the bust area. Then I made patterns for 3 layers of skirt. Because the dress is asymmetrical, this was kind of confusing, and I did a couple of things wrong, but it all works out in the end. I measured the length I wanted each layer to be on each side, and then created the patterns on paper. The bottom layer has a drastic shape because at this scale it would be crazy to do more than 3 layers because of the thickness of the fabric. I'll be using this shiny black satin, which is probably familiar to you if you've watched a lot of my videos because I love how it looks and I use it a lot. It frays a lot though, so I don't love that. I was too lazy to actually use fray block this time though, so I just powered through. I made the top piece, which fit pretty well. Then I moved on to the skirt layers, hemmed them, and sewed them together. Then I gathered the fabric to create some pretty ruffling. For the third layer, I sewed it to the underside of the second layer instead of sewing all 3 layers together at the same spot, which would be basically at the waistline. I didn't want the waistline area to get too puffy, so that's why I did it this way. Once I had sewn the whole thing together and added some black Velcro to the back, the dress structure was in place. I used thin black ribbon for the straps. On her right shoulder, she needs to have a little ruffle. So I sewed up and gathered some tulle to create a little ruffle accent, and I added that to one of the strap ribbons. Then I stitched the straps onto the main dress. Then I made a much bigger tulle ruffle to go around the hemline of the bottom layer of the dress. I gathered up the tulle and stitched it on so that it would add some drama and even a bit of length to the bottom point of the dress on her right side. Now that the dress is complete, let's get to styling that gorgeous hair. Off camera, I separated the front part of the hair, which will become her bangs, and tied the two ponytails in a pricky placement on top of her head. But when I separated the bangs, I realized there were some areas of the scalp showing through. So I took what was left over from the hank of hair and I used every last strand of it to fill in the bangs area. In order to get the bangs to stay in position, I wrapped some plastic wrap around her head tightly and then used a hairdryer on a low setting to try to set them in place using heat. This works really well, but you have to be careful not to let the plastic wrap melt or let the hair get frizzed out by the hot air, so you just have to kind of be careful. I also cut up this piece of epic black lace in order to make elegant embellishments for each pigtail. Okay, so now for the scary part, cutting the bangs. First, I tie up the bottom of the hair so that when I chop it, I can save that bit in case I ever need it later. Then I start considering how I will shape these front pieces. I trim each bit of hair on an angle to create that pointy end anime look for each of the chunks of hair. In order to get that pointy end, I use a bit of water and this hair spiking glue. I put some glue on my fingertips and smooth the hair into the shape I want. Sometimes I put the glue into the hair before I cut. It works pretty well if you use enough of it, and it seems to dry clear as well. It does take a lot of fiddling around with to make it look quite right, so you have to be careful not to chop off too much at once in case you want to sort of reshape it. For any anime style hairstyle, yarn seems to be a lot more cooperative, but I wanted her pigtails to be really long and thick and luscious, so I went for the reroot. In this situation, the spiking glue is really a lifesaver because it helps you shape the hair and keep it in place. When I'm happy with the shape of the bangs, in order to keep them from popping upwards or outwards too much, I add some more spiking glue and wrap some plastic wrap around the edges to sort of set it in place. The next morning, I remove the plastic and the hair looks pretty good. Now I can reattach her head, being careful not to screw up the hair, and she's all finished. Okay, Cupid, are you ready for a rather drastic change in color scheme? Aw, finally, a sweet character without any weapons. Do you need a hug, Miku? It's been about 10 years since I first discovered Vocaloid and fell in love with Hatsune Miku. I've been wanting to make a Miku doll since then, actually. Back when I was in high school and didn't know anything about doll customizing, I really wanted a Miku doll, and I even took one of my old Barbie dolls and attempted to color her hair turquoise with a Sharpie. I eventually chickened out about transforming one of my childhood Barbies, but that urge to make my own doll kind of started there. So it's pretty satisfying to finally have made my own doll of Miku. Do you like to listen to Vocaloid songs? Which one is your favorite? Tell me in the comments below. I'd really like to know if you'd like to see more Vocaloid dolls on my channel. I'd like to take a moment to thank a bunch of awesome people who support me and make these videos possible. Be sure to check out my Patreon page if you're interested in joining. I share works in progress, bonus videos, and organize special exclusive collaborations with my community of supporters. The link is in the description if you think you'd like to help. I'd also like to remind you that TheDollFairy now has an official shop with apparel, accessories, charms, stickers, and lots of cool stuff for sale. I designed all of the merch on TheDollFairy.com, so head over to check it out and sign up for the email list to find out the inside scoop about upcoming sales and events. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget that there are still a lot more Miku-themed dolls made by my fellow doll artists for you to see. The links to their channels and social media are in the description below, so make sure to watch their videos and subscribe to them as well. Stay tuned to TheDollFairy on Instagram for news on the Pokemon Zodiac series and lots of other stuff. I'll see you all in the next video for more doll magic. Bye!